and welcome to this conversation about music and social integration and relationship building. My name is Saramai Leech, and I'm a professional musician and a hospital musician. And I'm really delighted today to be joined with an expert in the area of arts and healthcare, Liam Merriman. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm delighted at the moment to be a guest contributor for Grandpal, which is a new app which I highly recommend you look up if you haven't already come across it. And I'm working on several pieces around arts and health. So today we're going to be talking about music and its benefits with regards to social integration. So Liam, today's expert, is a professional musician, a hospital musician, and a trainer working with many pioneering organisations in the area of arts and health, including Waterford Healing Arts Trust, Kids Classics, and Training Notes. So thank you so much, Liam.
Thank you indeed. It's great to see you, Sarah May, and one of my favourite topics, as you well know.
I do indeed. So could we start off maybe with a bit of background about you and where you're coming from?
Sure. Well, I would say I was changed as a musician after I undertook the Musique et Santé 1-week introductory training module in Paris for hospital musicians. It was 12 years ago now. And seeing their approach and particularly the esteem in which they were held by medical staff, and also then the responses of neonatal infants in incubators right through to geriatric dementia patients, it just absolutely blew me away. Seeing them place appropriate music in either of those contexts and many, many in between, and seeing the impact that had on the patient, on the medical staff, on the families that had to be present, it definitely changed my life, I think, certainly as a musician.
Yeah.
And that was a 1 week. That short experience was followed then by 2 pan-European projects, each delivered over a 9-month period, led by Musique et Santé again. One was Music in Hospitals project, and the other a Training Trainers project, both funded by the EU Commission's Leonardo da Vinci Lifelong Learning Programme. And the international training, as I said, led by Musique et Santé, was in association with the Royal College of Music in Manchester in the UK, the Krakow Academy of Music in Poland, Turku University of Applied Sciences in Finland, and Music Network here in Ireland, and that's Ireland's national music touring and development organisation. And it involved working in hospitals in Ireland, in the UK, and on mainland Europe, with mixed teams of musicians from each country, with music as our common language. So when you just had music and you were in a hospital in Krakow in Poland, and you were dealing with people, and I had absolutely no understanding of their language or whatever, but we did learn some of their music.
Wow, what a fascinating experience.
Yeah,
So,
it
you
was
couldn't communicate through verbal language, so you were using the music as the vehicle of communication.
precisely. So you have the music on the one hand, then you also have to be acutely observant of body language
Mm-hmm.
and of people's demeanor and so on. And in a situation like that, when it's all you have to communicate and explore, whether you're making a connection, whether you're wanted in the room or not wanted, it really does sharpen the skills.
And it
Um,
also highlights, I guess, how, we're natural communicators and we will adapt. And I guess in a situation where language, where it's easy, somebody else speaks English and everybody is well and able to use their language, that's what you'll use. But if you can't use that naturally we will be drawn to communicate in some other way. So I guess that's brilliant. Like, we're jumping actually straight into the topic.
yeah,
What it highlights is how, you're coming from such a background of your own original music and performance, and I can so identify with being inspired by seeing the power of music in these
yeah,
settings. And also what you've touched on there is all the accreditation and how respected the area is and how much work is going on. It's not, it appears to be a new thing because I think social media has been highlighting these beautiful videos and instances where, you know, these incredible moments happen. So it's getting more into the public zeitgeist.
Yeah,
But all this work has been going on with all these different universities and hospitals and people like yourself training and then becoming trainers. And of course, you trained me. Fabulous teacher. I thoroughly enjoyed the training. So there's so much we could talk about and so much I'd love to ask you about, and hopefully we can visit those topics down the line. But for the purposes of this short conversation, I'd love to focus on music and relationship integration and how powerful that is. So alongside this chat, I'm going to write a companion piece where I'll touch on a few different articles and some of the science to back up some of the lovely videos that we've seen online and social media. And one quote just to get us straight in is from an article about a study that was done in the UK with the Wellcome Trust and the NHS. And there was a project in music in healthcare settings project, and their findings were published. It's a great article, I'll include the link. But one of the things that they found was, if I can find it here, non-verbal communication in later stage dementia may be overlooked or underestimated by busy care staff and families. And I just thought that that was a very succinct way to show the value that is there that could be missed because, of course, naturally staff are busy and family members are busy. So I just wonder if that is a good starting off point to get your take on this area.
yeah, it is because I mean, music itself is a form of communication, and music, because I've witnessed this all the time, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, when you're in a situation where you're with a baby in an incubator, it's a person you don't know, you've never met them, you know nothing about them or their family background or whatever, and you play a piece of music or you use the human voice, it has an effect there and then. You witness it before your eyes, you witness the body language, the struggle, you witness the tension in the body being eased. Uh, you can see it physically in the monitors, the heartbeat. You can see it in the blood and oxygen levels. But that's not my area of expertise, but just I
You
just
know
know
it
what I
has an
see,
impact.
right?
Yeah,
So in my view, if it can connect with a tiny little baby, um, it's an inherent human. It's inherent in the human species. We connect to music. We connect to the sound of the human voice. We connect to musical sounds,
yeah.
and everybody has a soundtrack to their life, and it carries with you right through your life. So in later years, and particularly going back to your formative years, um, by opening up a musical conversation, as I'll put it, with somebody in later stages of dementia and Alzheimer's, you connect with the person who's inside, who's locked inside the body that's trapped in the Alzheimer's condition. You connect with them and they respond, which is the really big deal.
Mm.
Um, we're talking about people at, say, you know, later stages of Alzheimer's who don't recognize their own family, who cannot have any kind of a coherent conversation. But yet, if you can go to the music soundtrack of their formative years, particularly,
Hmm.
and perform or sing or try and use a piece of music, you can literally see the light coming back in their eyes. Now, it's not like flicking a switch. It might take a couple of visits for the connection really to be fully formed. But you can
Wow,
go,
that's
you can
very
go from,
interesting. In terms of you saying that it might take a couple of visits. So even though somebody's memory might be failing them, the repetition of the visits has a cumulative effect.
The connection to the music. I'll give you an example. The first time I was in an Alzheimer's unit, and it was quite a large unit here in Ireland. And the first week, there was two of us playing, and the first week we came out afterwards, and I was completely exhausted. We had tried, we'd performed music, we'd played music, we'd tried to connect individually and collectively because there was quite a large number of patients there, some of whom had their family members with them. And I remember one particular gentleman who was so deep into the Alzheimer condition. His wife was always there with him. He didn't know who she was. He was a professional man who had retired, and you would know by looking at him. He was a very well-educated man, a gentleman, and yet he was at the stage where he was using filthy language, saying absolutely obscene things, which were completely out of character with the man.
Yeah.
And I remember his wife saying to us that Danny Boy was his song. So we sang Danny Boy, and there was some little chink of recognition there, which is lovely to see, because what you want to achieve is that he will be himself for a moment. He
Yeah.
will go back to being himself. And for his family, that is such a big, big thing, even though it's a small thing. But anyway, we worked away. After the first week, we felt, God, this is so tough working with a group like that. But it got to the stage where after about 3 weeks, I remember we walked in the door, and that gentleman turned around in his chair. He was strapped into a chair. And when he saw us walking in, he looked over and he went, "Oh, Danny boy,"
Wow.
which was absolutely incredible. His
Astounding.
wife could not believe it. He had made a connection.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it
he
showed that
knew
he was still there.
there was something there,
Yeah.
and he connected. We were the Danny Boy people. We were the people, and we'd been trying for weeks. It,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen instantly, but when it happens, it's extraordinary, and,
Magic.
and it's
Yeah.
it's remarkable. And then, of course, that changes everything, because it gives the staff, if you like, another tool
Yes.
that they can use to perhaps encourage or to calm.
And do you think in a situation like that, that the relationship between this man and the staff and his family might improve a little bit because of that moment?
Yes, I do, because now his wife had news. She had news to tell the rest of the family. Dad sang Danny Boy again. That was Dad's party piece. That was the trademark Dad we knew whenever there was a sing song throughout his life, and all that had shut down.
Mm.
But through the live music and through connecting, and when I say connecting, like you really are connecting, you're using eye contact, you're placing your own body in an appropriate way that is not in any way intimidating or too close, but close enough to try and connect with the man and let him see that you're there for him.
You're there for
You're
him.
there,
So
yeah, you're there with him.
that's like excellent advice for anybody watching who might be, either working in a hospital setting or caring for somebody at home, um, or just maybe a family member who
Yes.
they're interacting with. So I wonder, could you maybe go over those points or any other tips that you would have in all of your experience, working in
Yeah,
um,
well,
nursing homes?
I would think, yeah, a very simple, and I think to take one thing away from this conversation, I would say, for somebody like that, with dementia, Alzheimer's, to find out about their music from a husband or wife, from a son or daughter, and to explore that possibility of singing the songs, particularly focusing in on the formative years. Or somebody say who love musicals, maybe take a song from Oklahoma, "Oh What a Beautiful Morning," and
Yeah,
try that and see is there a connection. Because I mean, it is again, a fact that the music, that the part of the brain that retains the music, is one of the last outposts. that the Alzheimer's doesn't necessarily even reach. It remains intact. That recollection is deeply embedded in the brain, and so you can find the person, the real person, and reconnect with them, even for a brief moment, and connect with who they really are. And that is important for them. It's really important for family. And it's also important for medical staff and support staff, care staff. I mean, again, I remember a friend of mine, his dad had dementia, and he was in hospital. And he said, like, again, he was very foul-mouthed and very agitated and aggressive and so on. And, the nurse had herself uh, found from singing with him that the only way to calm him down was to sing "You Are My Sunshine."
You are my sunshine.
You are my sunshine.
Yeah.
And it worked every time, like a switch. Nothing else would work, but "You Are My Sunshine" just took him down.
Wow. Well, that's a great place to start, and it's so helpful. So maybe something from a musical like Oklahoma, or "You Are My Sunshine," which is such a familiar
Yeah, "You Are My
song.
Sunshine," ballads, folk songs, um, uh, a piece of classical music, anything at all, "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," some of those universally known tracks, or even indeed songs that maybe somebody learned as a child, children's songs, or for many people, spiritual songs, hymns, Christmas carols, songs that have a strong association.
Yeah.
They will make a connection. But as I said, it's not like flicking a switch. You work on this.
Be
You work,
patient.
and you find the space.
Find it. Liam, thank you so much. That's so generous of you to give all these helpful tips, and hopefully we can do this again in the future, and look forward to working with you again down the line. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Saramai.
Thank you.
All the best. Bye-bye.